He's made $150,000 in wholesale fees, right?
Yeah.
In 2 months. But he also acquired 12 rental properties. He's now got a portfolio. The kid's 24 years old.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, it does not matter what anybody goes in front of me. He goes, you've changed my life. And that's what it's about. So tell me, do you have anything where you have some clients where they're not using AI, they're going off their gut, been doing it for years, but yet they've come to you and said, hey, I want more. I need more deals. I need better deals. What do you got?
Absolutely. So one of my clients, he was like, hey, Phil, what we're doing is working.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to see a little downtake. It's not working as it used to perform. We introduced AI to his marketing campaign. And what we did there was we used this AI, the AI algorithm. It's a specific, unique AI algorithm for REIPrintMail's data. And what it does is it qualifies data that used to take months and months of research to do. It did it in a split second.
Really?
And when we mailed out, tracked that data, all we saw was better deals, more cash conversion cycles there, more motivated sellers that wanted to get over the finish line.
Okay.
It was actually amazing. So what we did was, we do our typical thing. In REIPrintMail, we hold your hand through the whole process. So open line of communication with my client and talking, hey, this is one point of motivation that we're going to hit. And it's our shipwreck data, which is the pain in the equity style data, your courthouse records.
It's like the Titanic. It's going down. You get a divorce, you're getting bankrupt.
Exactly. So you got your equity pain, right? So your bankruptcies, your divorcees, your probates, your pre-probates, your pre-foreclosures, Liz Pennant, your NODs, NOSs, which is your notice of defaults, notice of sale. Attack that one. That was one of our points of motivation.
Okay.
Secondly was our invisible list. So we stacked the shipwreck with the invisible. Invisible is your kind of your burnt out landlord style list, right? Couple missing filters that most investors miss.
Okay.
But includes your senior citizen owner, so 65 and up, absentee ownership, high equity years of ownership in there. And then we're like, okay, those are two great points of motivation. What's our third? And that's when we said, okay, we're going to take a look at AI because everybody's doing it. There's got to be something that we can utilize here. And what our AI does is it takes a look at the qualified lead that we've already tracked. It builds out this ideal avatar of this individual that responded to mail, was a qualified lead, owned a property, responded to mail, had an interest in selling that property. And what the AI did, it took 30 points on that person's characteristics and ranked our generic data, your prop stream, your list source, or your generic public record data there that would look on paper as a motivated seller. But AI, what it did was it took a more in-depth scope and saying, okay, property looks like it would be a motivated seller. Individualized, this person, he ranks so high based on these 30 characteristics of an ideal qualified avatar.
This is your ideal buy box, right?
This is your ideal buy box.
Like your clients, hey, I want 3 ones with a certain amount of square footage. Oh, I'm in Louisville, so I don't want to deal with lead-based paint. So it needs to be over 1950 or something along those lines, right?
Yep.
So beforehand, he was basically pulling the most generic, basic white girl kind of a list, right?
Yep,
To everybody and their brand new investors.
And that's what, it works.
To an extent.
It works to an extent, but you want more qualified. And when you talk to REIPrintMail or you talk to someone like myself or someone like, we use your money as if it's our money. We want to maximize the potential of it, get the best ROI that we can, and stay consistent.
You got Warren Buffett money?
Exactly. But, using what we already see in the market, what we already track.
Tell me about that. You're tracking that, and for your client, what market was he in?
He was in Texas.
In Texas?
So,
okay, so like Dallas or Austin?
DFW, Midland, Odessa, great markets, even Houston sprinkled in there. So he's a national investor. At that point, when you get to that grand scale or that massive numbers, you got to be...
And was he pulling it in the list himself?
In the beginning, he was pulling his list himself, just using a basic property search,
Why
right?
is he doing the $20 an hour job?
Yeah, exactly.
That's something that I talk about with some of my investors. Hey, shouldn't you be more focused on that $10, $15, $50,000 an hour job? Why are you focusing on, so open up 25% of your time, because it takes about an hour or so to, do a list, or maybe you're doing title work or, doing all that other stupid crap, going and taking pictures. Have people do all that crap for you. When you're utilizing any sort of list structure, stacking anything, typically when I'm doing any of that for my clients, that's when we're looking for people that are on multiple different lists. And then we're going to take the cream of the crop, the ones that land on multiple of those. And then we run it through that AI, right? And like you said, we're list stacking it. Like I got one, for instance, right? So younger kid. I want to be like him when I grow up. He's 24 years old. Obviously I got a few years on him. Got too much gray hair going on here. But, he started off with his daddy's $3,000.
Yeah.
Ended up getting 2 deals for it, reinvested himself, started off on his own, right?
Nice. Yeah.
So got up to $7,500, started seeing more consistent deals. And then his dad started paying attention. He's like, wait a minute. You're not asking me for money. You're doing this. All of a sudden, you're buying brand new things. And actually, I'm seeing that, because I'm still helping your finances here. Okay. You're living under my roof. And next thing you know, he's seeing his bank account growing. He's, what are you doing? Because I'm wholesaling, Dad. And
those are the best moments.
I know, right?
I mean, you get to grow with your client.
So his dad's like, what? He goes, all right, show me a 3-month scope of what you've done. And so in that 3-month scope, the kid made $90,000. And so he's okay, I see what you're doing here. And I want to see you succeed. Any good father would, right? Like you want that for your kids and I want that for mine. And so what he did is he goes, all right, I'm going to put some skin in the game with you. Let's see how we can do this. Scaled up. And next thing you know, we're up to $20,000, $30,000 worth of marketing. And this kid's starting to close 7 to 10 deals per month. And then his dad's, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. And next thing you know, I just got off a call with him last month. And, typically, this is somebody who started off not knowing anything. So he wasn't doing the whole gut thing, right? Oh, yeah. But he even asked, he goes, do I need to pull my own list or anything like that? I go, oh no, we hold your hand through the entire process. Yeah. We're going to walk through you step by step. We're going to have meetings. We're going to go over KPIs. And that's what we did every single time.
There's just so many missteps when you do your own stuff, right? If you're looking at someone like yourself or me or even you, Adam. Right. We're doing this every day.
Exactly.
We live in it. We breathe in it. This is our life, right? So there's things that we see, characteristics that pop up that most people don't see because they're only doing it once a quarter. Right. Pulling their list annually.
He's at the point of, he talked to me last week. And so the last 2 months, he's made $150,000 in wholesale fees, right? Yeah. In 2 months. But he also acquired 12 rental properties. He's now got a portfolio. The kid's 24 years old.
Dude, yeah.
And he's like, dude, it does not matter what anybody goes in front of me. He goes, you've changed my life. And that's what it's about, right?
Absolutely.
And so when we talk about how does AI, help us make better, right? You hit on that, right? It's that 30 different demographic scenarios that it's looking for. It's looking for people that are over leveraged. It's looking at public records that you can find off the internet.
Dynamic offers on your properties saying, hey, you're so far from the metropolitan area. It's not a desirable area. There's not a lot of saturation.
Right.
Maybe offer a little less than the traditional 80-85% that most people always preach.
And I don't know if you're aware of what it's doing, but it's also Geo-Fencing.
Oh yeah.
So it's taking, so if we're in like St. Louis and Kansas City and we're 2 different markets, we need to pull those lists separately because something might be going on in Kansas City that's not in St. Louis. Oh yeah. And so it's taking their market into effect. Yeah. And that's wild to think of how far AI has grown. But as I'm seeing, and I'm sure some of your clients are, is that we're seeing more qualified calls because it's taking those markets into effect, and we're seeing more better deal flow. You might not be getting that 2 to 3% that we were seeing, 8-10 years ago. Yeah. When we were utilizing
the golden days are gone.
The golden days are gone. So what do we need to do? We need to get better. How do we get better? We start utilizing tools and services like AI.
Exactly. 100%. And even that's just the scenario that REIPrintMail uses it. I even have clients that use it as their inbound live answer service. Really? Where they're doing AI to answer their, like AI bot that's answering their thing. AI is taking over the world. It is crazy. But one thing I'm always going to stay true is human relationships will always surpass that. Oh, 100%. Having a true conversation with a human being is always going to be better than anything else.
So have you ever called in, on phone service,
Yeah, let's not talk about Spectra or, but trying to call and cancel your Spectrum.
And you're like, agent, get me a live person. That's where I think that when everybody's trying this whole AI, you and me, we're both investors, and you have to answer live and you have to put a person on the phone. And that's how our company's built. Yep. They're not going to call in and get some AI bot that's going to be like, you will talk to Phil Tunn, and it's not going to do any of that crap. And it's not going to sound like it is complete AI. And you're like, oh God. And then you keep telling it and they're like, it's like, I don't understand. No. So having the ability to have a live person on there is always going to be key. But AI, I tell you what, man, when you're doing anything with finding motivation, looking at a market and finding distress, it's finding distress that I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah, things that you won't even uncover because you just don't have that bandwidth or you don't have the knowledge behind it. And this thing's looking at it on a macro level, taking it down to a micro level. It's crazy.
Dude, I mean, it is. So like whenever like you look at the maps, did Nick show you the maps of the geofencing? To where, so say St. Louis, we got St. Louis City, South County, we got Wentzville, we got St. Charles, we got O'Fallon. Like it's taking all of these different cities and counties and it's grouping them all together. Yeah. And that's what I think is the most powerful part, because if you're thinking like, say, Warrenton, you know, like Tyson's building that facility out there. I think it's pretty much done, but you know, there's going to be a lot of people in there. But I had a client who I had a conversation with and he was like, hey, you shared with me what was going on inside my market. And what it was is a lot of layoffs were going on. And he's like, I started leaning on that. And it was one of my questions in my intake form. It's, hey, are you a part of this? And he's like, oh, man, I started getting some of those people saying yes. And then that's my motivation. That's my in. And so he started leaning heavier on that. And he's like, dude, I started cleaning up deals left and right of people that are like against the wall and they can't sell it on the MLS because, as you know, stuff in the market's staying forever at this point right now. But, you know, for investors, we can come in situations like that and go, hey, you want a way out? I got your way out. Right?
Back in the day, right? How do you find an area that you would think is a good investment area? You chase McDonald's and you chase Starbucks. Because if they're developing, people are moving there. They got billions of dollars to do the market analysis. Guess what AI is doing? The exact same thing. They're looking at those things that it used to take us time to dive on the internet and find out, hey, where's a new development showing up?
Right.
AI already has it.
That's the thing with North Frisco when they were having Toyota was being built down there, right? And then, like I said, the Tyson facility out in Warrenton, you know, there's different areas that major corporations, especially with Trump helping getting stuff to the stateside, creating more job enforcement here in the United States. So you're seeing these big companies like Toyota build out these facilities and keep them here in the United States on our soil. So what is that doing? It's influxing into that market,
building growth.
Exactly. So then you're going to start seeing more houses come. You know,
housing demand. There's not enough place for people to live.
Exactly. I mean, Seattle's got the same problem.
Even AI looks at Airbnb short-term rentals. Municipalities putting a crackdown on them, saying, "Hey, you cannot get a license for a short-term rental. You got to make it an LTR, or you got to be a long-term buy and hold." So AI looks at that too, and it goes, "Hey, in this municipality, they're cracking down. So change your game plan if you're doing Airbnb."
That's my exact point.
Or attack Airbnb owners because you have higher leverage of them wanting to sell. There's more motivation behind why we should target this person.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of AI. Like I said, like you said, it's taking the market into effect of what is going on in there. Right. And that's the beauty of it, because that's where we're finding that motivation.
I'm going to tell you, Adam, one day when those robots come and they take over like Terminator, I'm scared. You know what I mean?
You and I will be, like we said all along, hey, well, you're going to be in REI Island. We're going to be remote somewhere else.
It's funny that we're talking about AI, right? Because on my drive to work today, I'm listening to the radio, the local radio station. They're talking about AI again.
Oh, God.
And they're like, you know what? If you think about every Hollywood movie that came out and has some type of AI. You remember that movie Smart House?
No.
Where the house was AI and it was like a robot? Oh. Why does AI always turn on the humans?
What was that one with Shia LaBeouf? There was a movie that he had that was like AI driven, that where it was trying to take over the world or something like that. Or there was that.
Oh, no, look at Will Smith and AI. That AI bot was scary and took over.
Chased him around.
Yeah, all right, we grew up with Terminator and all this stuff. I say when you use AI, use it correctly.
Right.
Use it to your advantage, but don't abuse the system. It's just like everything else. You know, if you're using AI, that goes for ChatGPT, Perplexity, all these new services that are out there. Grok, So, you know, AI works for helping your kids get to somewhere too. And I had this conversation with the local radio station. Called in and talked to them, and they're like, "Hey, you know, what about?" I do. Yeah, it's a long drive to work. It's snowing, but call in and go, "Hey, you know what? It's good." Because it can do some things that can correct your verbiage if you didn't have the correct verbiage, right?
Oh, for sure. I use it on emails every once in a while.
Exactly. But using it, over leveraging and overusing it can deter your mental growth and your educational growth. So I always tell people, use it accordingly.
Use it when it makes sense for you, right? Exactly. And like we're talking about in this whole entire topic, you know, stop utilizing your gut. Stop doing things by yourself. You have to put yourself in the position to succeed. Yep. And for us to succeed, we need to use AI when it comes to your list. Find that motivation for yourself. Correct. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to scale. You're not going to be able to scale when you're doing it yourself. You can to an extent, but your ceiling's only so high.
Correct. And I always tell people, like, AI is great, right? And we have the data to back it up. But if we're going to do it in your market and we're going to do it on your specific campaign, we're going to keep what's already working.
Yeah.
We're going to balance it and A/B test the AI data with what we already have working, producing a constant inbound lead flow for us, a predictable lead flow. You don't go all in on the AI right out the gate. You got to test your market. You got to find out if this is working for you.
You have to make sure it's viable for you, because there is markets that where it shows that
don't chase the shiny object yet.
Yeah.
Test it. If it works, go all in.
If you can do it where, like you have somebody like us, or you're doing it yourself and it's working for you and you're happy with that, fine. But if you're looking to see more, if you're looking to scale, let's have that conversation, right?
But one thing I'll tell you though, with the clients that I have currently using our AI predictive data.
What are they saying?
Quality of call, great. You don't see an amazing uptake on response rate.
I think that's part of the market.
Yes, hand in hand. I mean, there's always pros and cons to everything, but what they are seeing is deal flow. Something that they used to get 20 calls on and close one deal, they're getting 20 calls and closing 5 deals.
That's what I've seen.
Quality over quantity at this point.
Like, for instance, they have a guy in North Dallas, sent 9,800 mailers. And he was at the point that where he was like, I'm not seeing deals and I have to change something, right? So it's okay. We have this new AI that we've been, putting in all of the deals that we've anecdotally got them from a lot of our clients and some of the deals that we've done ourselves. And so we're just trying to figure out how it can help us. And so it was like, okay, let's open the gate for him. Let's see if this can keep his doors open. And, he had 39 phone calls, but guess what? 5 deals.
Exactly.
That's a deal in every 8 to 10 phone calls.
Look, we always preach about, hey, how areas of improvement, how to increase your ROI, how to 5x your ROI that you currently have. These are things.
2 of them were $50K deals.
Oh yeah.
So you're what is that, like $9,000 worth of marketing?
It's crazy that you said that, because every single one of my AI deals that I've seen, or my deals from AI data that we provided, the spreads are huge.
Really? What is the ROIs you're typically seeing?
So traditionally, I always preach, I go on stage and I go to conferences and I talk and I'm saying, hey, look, if you're under a 3x ROI, you need intervention. There's something that you need to do to correct, because anything under 3x ROI, there's something wrong. There's something broken. There's something leaking in your boat.
I was going to say, I like to use that term. There's a hole in your boat and you need to figure out where that is. We need to plug it up. Whether maybe it's your VA who's answering, screening, qualifying your
It's something. We're going to find out.
Maybe they suck on the phone.
We're going to find out.
Maybe it's your lists. Maybe it's your marketing. Maybe it's your PPC ads suck. What could it be? But the thing is you have to do some sort of A/B testing to figure out. And then, for instance, you're talking about, if you're not getting, I would say, anywhere from like a 4 to a 6x on average when you're utilizing direct mail, you're doing it wrong somewhere.
And if you're getting too high of an ROI, that's a bad thing. You're not spending enough money. You got something that's so hot and producing. Pour gasoline on that thing, man, and get the milk it for all it's worth.
Brandon up in Maryland, he's getting a 10x. And then I got a team that's in New Jersey, and you know who they are. I won't use names, but they're getting an 8x right now.
Pour gasoline on that thing.
We're talking about expanding their range because we've exhausted where we can inside that market, but we're still at an 8x. And Brendan's, hey, how do we get more? You know how he is. They're looking to raise that up to a 10x. And so that's why I've started introducing AI into their stuff. And from what Chris is telling me, it's just, they're like, dude, whatever you're doing. And same thing was out. They're like,
do it again.
Whatever you're doing, do not change anything. But hey, can we add in these 2 counties? So it's, hey, if this is going to increase over, we can start expanding. Like I got one for you. I got a guy who's in Ohio and West Virginia. Okay. Smaller spreads. So wholesale deals $10,000 to $15,000, flips. He won't take anything under like $25K, and obviously it goes up. But last 2 months of 8 weeks of mail, 15 deals.
Oh gosh.
He was questioning some things about 4 months ago, and I said, all right, let's start making some adjustments. And then 2 months ago, I go, hey, we got this new AI. You ready to give it a try? And he said, sure. And then just had that meeting with him. He's, dude. I don't know if this is going to be forever. But if you're having this now, I go, we need to start looking at other markets. Because if you're cleaned up 15 deals in 2 months, come on. And he's on 18K spend.
We've been in business for 33 years.
long time.
And you think about these spreads and these large numbers.
Right.
Imagine how many millionaires we've made out there in this world.
Oh, God. Actively what? We got 2,000 active
2,500 active investors every year,
God.
sending out 4 million pieces of mail every month and tracking that mail. Yeah, my goodness.
Well, that's
think about those numbers.
Yeah,
And now implementing AI. Oh my goodness, that growth.
now, do we implement anything else and talk about anything else that we got coming around the corner?
I don't know, man. I would say you hold that for a hush or a private consultation with one of us.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
You got to leverage everything.
The whole thing is, though, is consider us the one-stop shop.
Absolutely.
You know?
Even if you have something in place, let us analyze the market and see what we see. Show you what we're tracking, and let us go from there.
That's the beauty of it. Here's what I'm doing right now with my current. This is what I'm doing. This
Yep.
is what I'm seeing. This is what my dividends are. This is what my REIs are. What are you seeing from other people? Okay, here's my KPIs. Here's how many deals they've done. Here's what their ROIs are. Why is it different?
Yeah, exactly. What's broken? What's leaking?
Something's leaking in your boat. And
Guarantee
it could
you-
be you're not using the right systems.
Yeah, or the right person. Because if you're not checking in with your marketing guy, if you're not checking in with your mail house on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, if you're not talking to them, why are you doing this
If you're
all
not-
blindly?
Yeah, if you're not following KPIs, you're not making data-driven decisions,
Yep.
and then you're not following what is working. Like you said, hit while the iron's hot. If you have a certain, maybe it's an AI list and a certain mailer that's crushing it, and then you have another one that's not, cut off that pipeline and let's put all the funds on that one.
Heck yeah.
Hell, if it's getting me 4 deals and the other one got me just 6 phone calls and no qualified leads,
Yep.
why am I spending money there?
Absolutely. That current campaign that we're
Do
talking
you like
about, at
running
one of
into
our,
a wall that's not going to move?
yeah, one of our team meetings, we were talking about a campaign for a client, right? And we'll call him Charles.
Okay.
For Charles, what we did was we did 80% of absentee ownership. This is AI data, 80% absentee, 20% owner-occupied properties. He got more deals on 20% of his list than he did on the 80%. Well, guess what we did? We redirected, because if you're making all your money on the owner-occupied, which was a shocker to us, because everything
Previous
market
to that,
tells, everything previous to that says, hey, absentee ownership is what
investors
we're
were
doing.
passing around like trading cards for the last, 8 years? That's what most people, probate, pre-foreclosures, and tired landlords.
Yep.
Those are the ones that were moving around the most.
Those are your keys. Keep them in there. They're your key.
Well, of course.
Everything is built on a base and a foundation. Then you have that
You
mount
have
from
your
there.
controlled pieces or your controlled
Yep.
parts of your campaigns or your mailings or whatever your funnel is. You
Yeah.
keep that controlled piece, and then you have to test.
Yeah, but where I was going was we would have never targeted the owner occupied unless the AI data told us to. If we didn't have that, AI would have, when we didn't have the AI, it would have said hit all, we would have just pulled a regular list, absentee ownership, left all those deals on the table for someone else to grab.
We as investors, because we get some of the mailers from some of our other competitors. Our VP of marketing got one the other day, and and he's like, "Why are they targeting me?" And it's, dude, your wife makes $100,000, you make 150 plus, so you're not hurting, right?
Yeah.
Your house has high equity. Why are you being targeted? It's probably because he's pulling a really cheap, crappy list.
Or just basic, basic
white,
filters.
basic
Yeah.
white girl list.
Yeah.
And and he brought it in and he was like, look at this. And he put it out there and it's just okay. And I'm like, all right, I'll call him. I'll talk to him. I'll be like, hey, let's have a conversation like this, right?
Yep.
Like, why are you targeting this person?
Yeah.
Do you realize that this person is set up like this and that you're wasting your marketing? Why waste?
Yep.
When you can see better results, have better, more qualified leads, because
Absolutely.
obviously if you're going to target somebody that's as structured and set up as that is and isn't looking to sell, why would you target that person?
Yeah.
So obviously you have a
Just
hole
because
somewhere.
the property, and this is probably why, because basic pool. You're looking at an absentee ownership, high equity, years of ownership in a desirable area. That was basically what most people were doing in the past.
Yeah.
You got to enhance
Either
now.
that
You
or-
got to change with times.
Or
If you
they're
don't
looking
change with times, you're in the
they're
back.
looking for those senior lists, those high equities.
Yep.
Somebody's owned a property for a certain amount of years,
Yep.
and that's probably why he fell on there. But
If you're single stacking your list, that means you're not stacking, period. If you only pull from one source, you're leaving opportunity elsewhere that you're missing. And
right.
come on, man, we got to fix this.
We do.
Immediately. It's been great talking to you, Adam, for the past 30 minutes, but I got clients I got to help. I got
me
deals
too.
I got to make.
Man, you're pretty and all,
I got to
but you
gain
know
more
what?
traction here, buddy.
Hey,
I'll
I
see
got-
you later, okay, buddy?
All right.
See you later. Rogan out.